Greetings viewers! It's great to have you here on my Gain Explains YouTube channel. Today we'll be exploring the important topic of direct speech, specifically the three types of speech: speech first, speech second, and split speech, with the focus on how to punctuate them properly. Time to get started! Good writers include dialogue in their stories. Dialogue refers to the conversations the characters have. It is typically presented using direct speech, with speech marks, also known as inverted commas or quotation marks, enclosing the exact words that the character says. Here is an example of some dialogue from the book Wonder. I've put the speech marks in red and highlighted everything that was spoken. As you can see, it's important to combine description with your dialogue. One of the common mistakes many young writers make is having too much direct speech and not enough narration. It is also important to punctuate your direct speech correctly. This will help the reader to follow the conversation, and if your story is read aloud, it enables them to read the dialogue with the right intonation, pacing, and emphasis, bringing your characters to life. Look at these three sentences. That punctuation mark makes a huge difference to how you would say the sentence. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. Direct speech can be written in three ways. Speech first. "I'm dressing up as a mummy for Halloween," said Miguel. Speech second. Miguel said, "I'm dressing up as a mummy for Halloween." And split speech. "I'm dressing up," said Miguel, "as a mummy for Halloween." Let's examine each of these in detail. Speech first is the easiest to write. "Did you know that honey never spoils?" asked Tina. "No, that's amazing," exclaimed James. "Yes, it's true. In fact, archaeologists have found jars of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are still edible after thousands of years," explained Tina. You can see why this is called speech first. The spoken parts come at the start. Speech marks are used to enclose what is spoken. They always appear in pairs. Even that long third section of speech uses just two speech marks. A big mistake some students make is to put each sentence in speech marks, like this, which of course is wrong. When someone starts speaking, always begin with a capital letter. And there is always a punctuation mark before the closing speech mark. This will usually be a comma, but might be an exclamation mark or a question mark. Note that the dialogue tag is not capitalized, even after a question mark and exclamation mark. Finally, you can see that we have begun a new line each time a new person speaks. This makes it easier to track who is saying what when you're reading it. If we were to present it as a chunk of text, it would be very confusing. Speech second. Emma looked up and exclaimed, "It says here that the narwhal's horn is actually a long spiral tooth." Steve, who was deep in concentration, murmured, "Really? What else does it say?" Emma continued, "Apparently it uses it to sense changes in water temperature, salt level, and the presence of nearby prey. Once again, pairs of speech marks have been used to enclose what each character said. You can see why this is called speech second. This time, the dialogue tag starts our sentences. At the end of the dialogue tag, before our first speech mark, we need to put a comma. Notice that the first word that is spoken must begin with a capital letter, even though it follows a comma. Notice too that you need to end the speech with a punctuation mark, either an exclamation mark, a question mark, or a full stop. This goes inside the closing speech mark. Split speech. Did you know, commented Mia, that hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backward? Really? Replied Liam. You're full of amazing facts. And, Mia continued, hummingbirds need to consume up to twice their body weight in nectar every day. This time we have split up what was spoken into two sections, which is why it is called split speech. The reporting tag goes in the middle. We therefore need two pairs of speech marks for each line of dialogue. Notice that the first word that is spoken always begins with a capital letter. However, when we begin the second part of the speech, it depends. Here it begins with lowercase letters, and here with a capital letter. Why is this? Well, it depends on whether you are beginning a new sentence or continuing from the sentence before. Did you know that hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backward? Is one sentence. So because the second part of the speech continues from the first part, it does not need a capital letter. However, take a look at the next line. Really? You're full of amazing facts. Are two separate sentences, so that Y does need to be capitalized. Now on to that final section of speech. And hummingbirds need to consume up to twice their body weight in nectar every day. Is one continuous sentence, so the H does not need to be capitalized. Before ending each part of the direct speech, we have used a punctuation mark. Again, this always goes inside the closing speech mark. It does seem complicated, but with practice, you'll soon learn to punctuate your split speech perfectly. So make sure you use dialogue in your stories. It'll help bring your characters to life. Begin by using speech first direct speech. This is the easiest to write. When you grow in confidence, use a combination of speech first, speech second, and split speech. But make sure you don't use too much direct speech. It's important to combine dialogue with plenty of narrative description.